Hare Krishna everyone, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes through Rupas. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद. You can start, Madhya, whenever you're ready.
Let me make this a little bit bigger.
Okay, sure.
Prabhuji, can you make the letters a little bit bigger?
Okay, sure. Let me see. Is this good?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure.
Text number 121. In one village, there was a Vedic Brahmin named Kumara. He invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect and devotion. Text 122. The Brahmin brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank the water. Text 123. With great affection and respect, the Kumara Brahmin made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of foods. After that, the remnants were shared by all the members of the family. Text 123. With great affection and respect, that Kumara Brahmin made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat. Oh, I think I read this one. Text 124. The Brahmin then began to pray, O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come into my home. Text 125. My dear Lord, there is no limit to my great fortune. It cannot be described. Today, my family, birth, and uh, riches have all been glorified.
Hmm.
Text 127. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again.
126. Text 126. You can start.
Okay. Text 126. The Brahman begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by material life. Text 127. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. Text 128. Instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Shri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. Text 129. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmin Kumara, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. Indeed, if you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather you will lose my company. Text 130. At whosever house Sri Chaitanya accepted his alms by taking prasadam, he would convert the dwellers to his Sankirtan movement and advise them just as he advised the Brahmin named Kumara. Text 131 to 132. While on his tour, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend the night at the temple by the road. Whenever he accepted food from a person, he would give him the same advice he gave the Brahmin named Kumara. He adopted this process until he returned to Jagannath Puri from his South Indian tour. Text 133. Thus I have described the Lord's behavior elaborately in the case of Kumara. In this way you will know Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealing throughout South India. Text 134. Thus, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would remain at night in one place, and the next morning after bathing he would start again. Text 135. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, the Brahmin Kumara followed him a great distance, but eventually Lord Chaitanya took care to send him back home. Text 136. There was a Brahmin named Vasudev who was a great person but was suffering from leprosy. Indeed, his body was filled with living worms. Text 137. Although suffering from leprosy, the Brahmin Vasudev was enlightened as one worm fell from his body. He would pick it up and place it back again in the same location. Text 138. Then one night Vasudev heard of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival, and in the morning he came to see the Lord at the house of Kumara. Text 139. When the leper Vasudev came to Kumara's house to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was informed that the Lord had already left. The leper then fell to the ground unconscious. Text 140. When Vasudev, the leper Brahman, was lamenting due to not being able to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord immediately returned to that spot and embraced him. Text 141. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him, both the leprosy and his distress went to his distant place. Indeed, Vasudev's body became very beautiful to his great happiness. Text 142. The Brahman's Vasudev was astonished to behold the wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began to recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam touching the Lord's lotus feet. Um, Text 143. He said, "Who am I, a sinful poor friend of a Brahmin, and who is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in six opulences? Nonetheless, he embraced me with his two arms." Text 144 to 145. The Brahmana Vasudev continued, "O my merciful Lord, such a mercy is not possible for ordinary living entities. Such mercy can be found only in you. Upon seeing me, even a sinful person goes away due to my bad bodily odor. Yet you have touched me. Such is the independent behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Text 146. Being meek and humble, the Brahman Vasudev worried that he would become proud after being cured by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
We
Text
can
1.
pause there, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So going back to the overall context where we are in today. From yesterday's session, we discussed Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is traveling on South India tour. He started from Jagannath Puri. He went to Alalnada. He spent a night there, and a lot of devotees were happily participating in Sankirtan. And then they were lamenting after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left from there to South India tour like that. Then we heard how during the South India tour, whenever Lord Chaitanya was always chanting the holy name all the time like that, Krishna, 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 like that. We heard yesterday. Wonderful verse. Meaning of the verse was, Krishna, please protect me, like that. That the verse we read about. And then he was meeting anybody he meets, he's making pure devotee without even considering their qualification. He's giving the Krishna prema to them, and they're becoming pure devotees. And wherever they go, they're keeping on chanting because as they became God of Krishna prema. While they're chanting, they're making others devotees like that. Even whoever comes in touch with them to seize them, they become such a great devotees that they can make other devotees like that. That's how he made a whole South India like that. Everywhere he went, he made devotees like that. We heard. Now, a couple of interesting pastimes are going today. One is finishing, and second one is almost finishing today. It's a beautiful pastime. Both one is Kurma Brahmana's pastime we read just now, and then was the Brahmana story. So going back to the, let me start sharing the screen again. Yeah, let me open my book also. It's there in part 4. I can share points from part 4 also. Okay, text 121. So here, now the story of a Brahmana, Kurma Brahmana. Kurma, like how Vishnumurti comes in different avatars, Kurma avatar is one, like that, Kurma Brahmana. He invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home with great respect and devotion. That's important. Not like a grudgingly, oh my God, I need to invite him like that. He invited a sannyasi to his home with respect and devotion like that. And then this Brahmana brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home and washed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, and that Charnamritam, all his family members, along with his family members, he drank that Charnamritam, it seems. Sometimes it's in Udbhatam, we hear someone washes lotus feet of the Supreme Lord or pure devotee, and then they put it on their head only like that. Here directly he drank also Charnamritam. Then text 123. Yeah, no purport here. So with great affection and respect again, Kurma Brahmana made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of food. That means he offered food with the food, not just, okay, here's the food you eat. Not like that. With great affection and respect. He offered him food. He wants him to eat more and more like that. After that, the remnants, whatever Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, he shared along with his family members. That means Mahaprasadam, they accepted like that. Then Brahmana began to pray. If you notice in this prayer, the mood of humility, mood of gratitude comes out very clearly in this prayers. You can see that, observe that. So he's saying, oh my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma. And these very lotus feet have come to my home. So he's appreciating greatness of Lord Krishna, who is coming as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here. So that is the first aspect. Humility includes greatness of Krishna and insignificance of ours. Both of them combined together make it as humility like that, right? So he's appreciating the greatness of Krishna first here. Even Brahma meditates on your lotus feet. Such lotus feet came to my home like that. And then he's saying, because of that, there's no limit to my great fortune. It cannot be described. Today, my family, birth, and riches have all been glorified. So this is another thing. He's appreciating the mercy he got. That how much benefit he will get just by the presence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that. So we also should feel such appreciation whenever we get some material like that. When a spiritual master comes, sannyasi comes, or when we get an opportunity to serve Supreme Lord in temple, whatever we can do. Then he begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, kindly show me a favor and let me go with you. He's asking, he doesn't want to stay here. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is leaving, he wants to go with him. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life, like that is saying. So he got attracted to Lord Chaitanya, and he want to stay in material life anymore. He wants to come back with Lord Chaitanya like that. Even though verse itself is saying, I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery of my materialistic life. Interestingly, Prabhupada explains the purport. Actually, this Brahmana was well-to-do. That means he had all opulences at home. But still, misery is there in material world, we know. That is the point. Not because he had less money, not because he's not able to enjoy material things. That's not the reason he's saying this point. That Prabhupada clarifies the purport. Now, there's a nice purport here. Prabhupada writes, first of all, this materialistic way of life will cause burning in the heart. So, and we cannot clear materialistic pains easily, like that, Prabhupada writes. And then we have to be free of materialistic life. Then one has to imagine, basically, it's important to not keep our leg in two boats, materialistic life and spiritual life like that. Better to clear off materialistic life like that. That doesn't mean leave everything and go out to forest. That doesn't mean that. We'll find out in the next couple of verses also. So then, so we can release transcendental bliss only after being freed from materialistic way of life, he's saying. Materialistic way of life means thinking that what is in it for me, how can I enjoy, that is what is materialistic way of life. Instead of thinking, how can I please Krishna, how can I serve Krishna, like that. So when we leave that attitude, we can really enjoy spiritual bliss and Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada is saying. Then, yeah, go to the next verse. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied. So these instructions are very, very, very instructive for us. Super instructive in terms of many angles. We'll discuss one by one. So first is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to him. What is Kurma Brahmana requesting? Let me also leave my family life and come with you. That is what he's requesting in essence. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. Nirantara. That's the word used. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not recommending all of our grosthas should go out of the home, take sannyas, and then practice devotional service. Not like that. He's saying stay at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. So what we'll do is we'll read these three instructions together and then go to the purports or answers also. That way, they're continuous. It makes sense for us clearly. First instruction is remain at home and chant the holy name always. Number one. Number two is saying instruct everyone to follow the orders of Krishna as given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That means preach Krishna consciousness. What a message of Krishna as given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Chant always, chant the holy name always, preach the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. So he's asking us, Guru in the sense, not like Diksha Guru sense, but sharing the message of Krishna like that. In that sense, Guru, like that. Actually, this is the most famous verse. So, let me maybe show the verse also. Yara deke tare kaha Krishna upadesha. Amara agnaya Guru hana tara e dasa. So this is very famous instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that we all need to share Krishna's knowledge with others like that. Krishna's message with others like that. Going back to the verse. Then, so stay at home and chant the holy name. Preach the message of Krishna as given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That means we need to know first and then we need to share. Next is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised. If you follow this instruction, what is this instruction? Stay at home, chant the holy name and preach the message as in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. That means people sometimes think, oh my God, because of my family, I'm not able to do devotion service nicely. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that will not, family life will not obstruct our spiritual advancement. Clearly, Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly saying. And then he's saying another beautiful point. If you follow these regulative principles, we will again meet here, or rather, you will never lose my company. That means, if we follow these instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always in our heart. He'll remain with us to support us in our devotion service like that. By what? Staying in our home and staying in our position. We don't have to become sannyasi immediately. And they chant the holy name always. Share the message of Krishna consciousness as given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam with others. And this way, we'll be protected from any material influence in our spiritual advancement. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always with us like that. Those are two benefits we are getting like that. Those are beautiful instructions Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing. These are very commonly discussed among devotees. So we'll read through purports also, some key points of purports. So one is the point that we discussed, that in the age of Kali, it's not advised that we all take up sannyas immediately like that. Not advised to leave the family, because we're not all trained as proper brahmanas and proper grihasthas first. That's why it's not recommended to take sannyas immediately like that also. That's one. Second thing is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying better to, now we're discussing this first actually, better to remain at home and chant Krishna, whole name of Hare Krishna Mahamantra regularly, right? Prabhupada writes, under the direction of spiritual master. Because only with the direction of spiritual master, we know how to conduct our lifestyle properly and how to chant the holy name properly, how to understand the Sambandha Gnana, our relationship with Krishna and this material world like that, right? That's why Krishna is adding, Sri Prabhupada is adding that element under the direction of spiritual master. And then, yeah, in the next verse, Prabhupada is saying, 128th verse, this is the sublime mission of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. So, if you notice, so many verses Prabhupada, so many purports in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada emphasized this point, that ISKCON is not just sentimental philosophy, something they're just following here and there. It's based on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions, based on principles from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Like that, Prabhupada emphasizes whenever opportunity comes. Here also, Prabhupada is saying, this is what ISKCON is also all about. Basically, we don't tell, if somebody wants to join ISKCON, we don't say, oh, you give up your family life. No. You stay in your family life and you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then, if you know reading also, then you can read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and share with others. And Prabhupada adds following the four regulated principles also, because that's sinful activity. Because if you do sinful activity, then it's hard to focus on the chanting of the whole name, hard to understand anything from scriptures also. That's where sinful activity is forbidden. And the way to do that is major sinful activity can be avoided if you follow the four regulated principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Prabhupada emphasizes on them and says illicit sex life is the worst among all these four things, like that he says. And then he says we can also produce nice preparations for Krishna, cook nice things for Krishna and offer them with grains, fruit, flowers, and milk. Those offerings we can make, like that he says. And then we're already intoxicated with material enjoyment. We're already wanting material enjoyment more and more already. Why do you want to add another element of intoxication by drinking some alcohol like that? That's another. Then if you do that, then what is your chance of self-realization? Prabhupada is asking. And then taking part in gambling will result in unnecessarily agitating the mind, Prabhupada says. So that's the point. And then what is the real purpose of our life? To attain the spiritual platform and return back to Godhead. That's the point Prabhupada is making. And that is easy to do by staying at home, chanting the holy name, and preaching the instructions of Krishna to others, as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's how Prabhupada concludes the purport. Now the next verse purport, 129th verse. Here Prabhupada is emphasizing that if you follow instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, and you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and teach everyone as far as possible, then materialistic way of life will not even touch us, like that is saying Prabhupada. Another important, wonderful point Prabhupada makes in this purport is that if you follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's principles like this, instructions like this, under the instruction of spiritual master, then wherever we stay, that becomes like a holy place. Because Chaitanya is saying that I will stay with you, like that, right? That's what it's saying. In one sense, we don't have to go to holy place also if you follow nicely, sincerely, these principles, like that is saying in a purport. Going to the next verse. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying again same thing. Whatever these instructions he gave to Kurma Brahmana, wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to have prasadam or beg alms from anybody, he would convert them also to his Sankirtan movement and advise them just as he has advised Kurma Brahmana. So he doesn't have to repeat the same instructions in writing again, but that pattern he repeated. What are the essential points? Chant Hare Krishna always and share Krishna's message to others. Okay, and Prabhupada added follow four regulated principles under the guidance of spiritual master, like that. So as long as we do these things, then we are pleasing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the important point coming up in the next purport, I think. So let me see. Yeah, 130 we read it. 130. Okay, 130 purport we did not discuss this. Yeah, purport Prabhupada is writing. We don't have to change the location. We don't have to go somewhere else that is more peaceful to do devotion service. We can do devotion service wherever we are, in whatever status we are. We don't have to become sannyasi to do devotion service. I hear sometimes from some devotees who say, oh, right now my mind is full of taking care of children, taking care of office work, like that. What I'll do is in 10 years, I'll earn a lot of money. I'll do this side business, that side business, this side business. I'll earn a lot of money, enough money. Then I'll go to Vrindavan or Mayapur and I'll do Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav and do full devotion service, like that some devotees say. That is not really practical. Because unless we practice now, it's very, very hard. There may be some devotees who can do that. But unless we can practice devotion service nicely now, with whatever limited time we have, it will not expand to more and more, so that when we go to actually a holy place and do for 14 hours a day, 20 hours a day, 16 hours a day, whatever we can do, we cannot have the taste to do the devotion service at that time. That's why it's important to cultivate right now in smaller scale. And of course, Prabhupada always reminded us, Prahlad Maharaj reminds us, we don't know when we'll leave the body. So it's important to start right now, not to postpone it to later on like that. So that's one principle Prabhupada writes in the purport about not changing the position and place like that. And then he says, one has to learn humility and meekness at home, is Prabhupada says. And one should not try to be advanced devotee, thinking, oh, I'm a first-class devotee. You should not get that in our mind. That is a pride like that. That's what Prabhupada writes. And then Prabhupada writes about sahajiyas. Sahajiyas means those who do not follow rules and regulations nicely. They just think that Krishna is very cheap. I will also be like Krishna. I will also follow like Krishna, like that they think. So without following the Guru Sadhu Shastra. So they think, it seems, that six Goswamis writing literature and then different acharyas preaching the message of Krishna consciousness is actually one kind of materialism, they think, it seems, some sahajiyas. Because they think sitting at one place and relishing Krishna's pastimes and imitating Lord Krishna and Rasa Lila, that is the best, they think. So Prabhupada is emphasizing that's not correct understanding. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling you have to preach the message of Krishna consciousness. You have to chant the holy name. That's what Prabhupada is emphasizing in this purport, to confirm that whatever ISKCON is doing is authorized. Whatever our Goswamis did is authorized. Whatever Acharyas did is authorized, like that. So now going to 131. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would spend a night at the temple while in his Sautya tour, and sometimes near the road, on the side of the road, it seems. That is how the purport in my book is there. And then whenever he accepted food from one person, again same story. He would give the same advice that he gave to Kurma Brahmana until he returned back to Jagannath Puri from his South India tour, is described. So now he's concluding that I described the Lord's behavior elaborately in the case of Kurma. In this way, you know, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dealt the same way throughout South India tour, like that. So he's saying next he will stay at night at one place, next morning he will go bathe and he'll start again, like that. That means not staying at one place for longer time, basically. There are a few instances that will come up in future where we'll hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed for Chaturmasa time in Sri Rangam, like that we'll hear in the coming up pastimes, beautiful pastimes coming up. So this one, Kurma when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was leaving, Kurma also followed him from a great distance, it seems. Then finally Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him back home, like that. Now another story is starting, another pastime of a Vasudeva Brahmana. He was suffering from leprosy, it seems, and his body was filled with living worms, it seems, because of the leprosy infections, like that. So then his service mood, is mood of service, take a look at his mood of service. When a worm falls from his body, one of the wound down on the floor, he'll pick it up and put it back on the body. So that way he wants to make sure that has the food, like that. Even though his body, it's eating his body, but still he was so compassionate and service mood, like that. Then one night he heard that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here to nearby to Kurma home, like that he understood. Then Vasudeva Vipra came to that Kurma home, but he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu already left. So he became so morose and he fell to the ground unconscious, because he was coming with so much expectations that he will see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. Then he fell to the ground unconscious, it seems. Then while Lord Vasudeva Brahmana, that leper Brahmana, was lamenting like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately returned to the spot and embraced him. So this is another way Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometime exhibited his omniscience, that means knowledge of everything, like that. So he understood that Vasudeva Brahmana is lamenting there. Even though he left already, he came back and not just gave darshan to him. Even though he's suffering from embassy, he embraced him. So much merciful Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. That's what we see. So he will glorify that also, Vasudeva Brahmana next. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him like that with embrace, Leprosy went away and his distress went away. What distress? That he's not able to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that. And then Vasudev's body also became very beautiful. To his great happiness is described. And then Vasudeva Brahmana was astonished with what? With the mercy, wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he has a grateful heart, he is humble. That's why he is able to appreciate the wonderful mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he began to recite a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam by touching the Lord's lotus feet. This verse is recited by Sudama Brahmana, it seems. That verse is saying, who am I? I'm a sinful, poor friend of Brahmana. Poor friend of Brahmana means Brahmana, Dvija, Brahmana Dvija. I think, what is it called? 143, right? Brahma Bandhu, Brahmana Bandhu, relative of Brahmana, like that. Brahma Bandhu, Dvija Bandhu, like that words are used, right? Prabhupada describes in first canto. That means somebody who's born in Brahmana family but not having qualities. That is a humble mood of Sudama Brahmana. He thought he did not have Brahmana qualities like that. I'm a sinful person without any qualities of Brahmana. But who is Krishna? Krishna is the Supreme Lord with all six opulences. Still he has embraced me with his own two arms. Like that Sudama Brahmana was feeling. Same thing, this Vasudeva Brahmana is feeling and reciting the same Srimad Bhagavatam verse. So the last verses for today, Vasudeva Brahmana continued, oh my merciful Lord, such mercy is not possible for ordinary living entities. Such mercy can be only found in you only. That means only you can give such great mercy. Normally, seeing a sinful person like me, people go away when they come close because of bad bodily odor, because of leprosy, bad smell comes. Yet you have touched me also, you embrace me. Such is the independent behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means nobody has to insist on Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is merciful, so he independently chooses to reciprocate with devotees, like that is describing. So that's how Vasudeva Brahmana was cured from leprosy, and in his grateful gratitude is praying to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will pause there. We'll continue Vasudeva Brahmana. A little bit more is there about Lord Vasudeva Brahmana. And then we'll continue next session. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kupasindubhyevacha paditana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.